Okay, so again, the two forms that we've already learned, standard form ax squared plus bx plus c, we used a table with that. Then we went to vertex form, which is a parentheses x minus h plus k. Then we're going to learn the third method today. We are going to learn intercept form of graphing, which is essentially taking this standard standard form, and factoring it. Do you guys remember how to factor from that whole unit? Where you do the crisscross, the number on top, the number on bottom, this is the number you multiply to, this is the number you add to, and then you do the two parentheses. So in the I can table, we're going to actually factor something. Y equals x squared plus 6x plus 8. Okay, if I crisscross it, what number goes on top? 8, good. And what number goes on bottom? So I want two numbers that multiply to 8, but then those two numbers also add to 6. What would that be? 2 and 4. Good. So then this factors in x plus 2 and x plus 4. And it's y equals that. Okay? This right here is the form that we're going to be working in. It's called the intercept form. Okay? So that is essentially the form that we are going to work in. So in intercept form graphing, so now we have standard form, vertex form, intercept form. So 3 forms that you will be tested on. Okay. The factors give the x-intercepts, which are also known as the zeros, solutions, and roots. What you're going to do is you're going to make 2 equations. And of course, we'll go through examples so that this makes more sense. Set each factor to 0 and solve each small equation for x. The axis of symmetry lies between, or the middle, between both the x-intercepts. You're going to find the axis of symmetry formula, which is doing p plus q divided by 2. Use the axis of symmetry to find the y value at the vertex. The vertex xy point, x of the vertex is the AOS. You're going to plug x into the equation, calculate to get the y of the vertex. Okay, that probably made 0 sense. We're going to go through that. Okay, so let's look at number 1 together. So number 1 is right here. Okay, this is intercept form. Okay, first thing you do is you take the parenthesis equations. We have 1 here and we have 1 here. And we set them equal to 0. So you're going to do x minus 1 equals 0. And you're going to do x plus 2 equals 0. Then you're going to solve for x. So what would x equal here on the first one? 1, because you add 1 to both sides. What would x equal here on the second one? Perfect. X equals -2. Those are actually your x-intercepts. So let's think about this. If it's crossing the x line at negative or at positive 1, what's your y value on an x-intercept? Does it go up or down at all if it's an x-intercept? No. So what's your y value there? 0. Thank you. So x is 1 from here. your y value is 0. What's your other x-intercept in this situation? Good, -2. My other answer that I got right here. What's your y value at that point? Zero. Okay, so let's think about this real quick. I have a quick sketch. This is telling me I have an x-intercept here and a y-intercept here. Okay, this is a parabola. Your vertex is always halfway between that, right? It's always in the middle of all your points. So to find that middle, you take your x point and your x point, your two x points, and you add them. You do 1 plus -2, but you're going to average them because you want the middle. Divide by 2. So what is 1 plus -2 divided by 2? How much is that? -1/2. That is your AOS, x equals -1/2. That's also your x value at the vertex, -1/2. It may be easier for us to put that fraction into the calculator as what? Negative what? 0.5. Okay. How do I find my y value at the vertex if I know my x value? What do I do? Excellent. I plug it into the equation. So right now on your calculator, plug that into the equation as -0.5 in for x. And try that. You have to use your parentheses just like they did. It's going to give you another decimal answer, and that is okay. What decimal answer does it give you when you plug in -1/2 into that equation? 6.75 or 6 3/2 or 3/4. Okay, we're going to plot that. So back a half, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a little bit more. There's my parabola. And we've graphed it using intercept form. My AOS is right here at -1/2. Is this guy going up or down? Down. So does it have a max or a min? Max. Guys, look at this value. Here's my A value. Does it tell me that it should be going down? What about it tells me that it should be going down? It's the negative. It tells me it's going down. All right, let's look at number 2. What's my A value here? 1. So should this guy be going up or down? Should be going up. So does it have a max or a min? Min. Okay. I want you guys to try this on your own. Yes, you've only done one example, but I want you to use all your work from this example to see if you can do it. So go for it. These equal to 0. X plus 3 equals 0. And x plus 3 equals 0. Well, what did you get in both situations? X equals what? -3, -3. So how many x-intercepts do we really have here? 1 and only 1. What is that one x-intercept? It's what? -3, 0. If that's my only x-intercept, that is my vertex point because it doesn't have a mirror image. So your vertex is actually at -3, 0. What's your AOS going to be at then? X equals what? -3. Think back to standard form. If I knew my vertex, what did I use in standard form to find a side of my parabola? What did we use in standard form, guys? I wrote it down at the top of the paper if you wrote it down also. Yeah, a table. Your vertex is at -3. Go to one side of it. What is it? -2, -1. We know it's -3, 0. So go ahead and plug in -2. Go ahead and plug in -1 and find your y values real quick. When I plug in -2, what do I get for my output y value? 1. When I plug in -1, what do I get for my output y value? If I were to graph this, go ahead and graph it with me. I'm back 1, 2, 3. I'm back 2, I'm up 1. I'm back 1, I'm up 4. There's one side of my parabola, right? AOS is the mirror image line, goes through the vertex. Mirror image those other 2 points to find the rest of your parabola, and then you graph it. Okay? I want for you to do all of number 3 on your own, start to finish. It is going to be exactly like number 1. So not the weird one like number 2 was, but more like number 1. So you should be able to follow steps on number 1 to get number 3. Okay, so stay with me, guys. You guys are doing good. Okay, looking at my A value. This A value is telling me that this will go up or down? Down, so max or min? Good. So now set both of these equal to 0. X equals what here? 7. X equals what here? So we have a 7 and a -1. What's my y value on both of those x-intercepts? Awesome. To find my AOS and the x value of the vertex, what do I do with those 2 numbers? Awesome. Good job. Add them, divide by 2. 7 plus -1 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is? So my AOS is at x equals 3. My vertex is at 3 something. How do I figure out what that something is? Perfect. So I'm going to take that equation up there. I'm going to plug in the 3. When I plug in the 3, what do I get as an output for my y value? 8. Good job. All right, go to the next page. Same idea here. Now we're just graphing it. We're doing all that same information that we are just doing it, but we're going to graph it at the end. What is your A value? -2. That means that this parabola will open down. Doesn't ask us, but would that be a max or a min? Max. Good. How do I find my x-intercepts? Set them equal to 0. Set those guys up there equal to 0. So x would equal what and what? 3 and 2. Written as a point, that would be 3, 0 and 2, 0. To find my axis of symmetry, I add those and divide by 2. So what's 3 plus 2 divided by 2? 2.5. It's okay to have a decimal. That means the vertex is at 2.5, something. Go ahead and plug in 2.5 into this equation in your calculator. So you're going to do -2 parentheses 2.5 minus 3 parentheses, parentheses 2.5 minus 2 parentheses. What'd you get? 0.5? You guys agree? So the y value is at 0.5. Okay? Y-intercept, tell me, if it's on a y-intercept that's crossing the y line, what is your x value if it's crossing the y line? So your x is 0. So now you have to plug in 0 into that equation. So -2 parentheses 0 minus 3 parentheses 0 minus 2. When you do that, what do you get as an output? Negative what? -12. Do you guys agree with -12? Okay, let's come over here and graph all that information. We have lots of points to graph. I have a point at 3, 0. I have a point at 2, 0. I have a point at 2.5, 0.5. I have a point all the way over here at 0, -12. So -8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have an AOS that's right here. So I can mirror image that point. And there's my parabola. Do the next 4 problems for homework.